Yeah, I was saying, had some. He said, Job's, he always stayed with the Lord. He questioned the Lord, but he didn't tempt the Lord. He wanted to know answers. Why was God doing this to him when he had he he had continued to be as a good follower of God as he had, and God knew him, so he let Satan do what he did to him. Uh, you know, I know that sounds kind of like God putting you out there and not protecting you, but all pretense as he went through this stuff, uh, you know, uh, he always said that God was good. God put him here. That's God was the man who put him there, put him on this earth, and put him on this earth, and set him to do what he was supposed to do. You know, he did. 31 here. He's got a. I can read all these chapters and about bore you to death. But Job's final protest of innocence. He um, whole time he's still having his friend protest against him. He's been accused of evilness, accused of arrogance. He's been accused of you know uh, all the accused of wickedness and all the things that that's the only way. That's the only way he could have ended up the way he was, is if he had done something wrong. And I'm not saying Job was perfect, because if you're born by God and put on this earth, you're definitely not perfect. Um, but he was probably one of the he was a real good man. He, besides his friends, um, you know, he's challenged Job several times. Like, and here it goes. He says, "Do you know when the wild goats give birth? Have you watched as a deer are born in the wild? This is the Lord's challenge continues." And he says, "Do you know how many months they carry their young? Are you aware of the time of their delivery? They crouch down to give birth to their young and deliver their offspring. Their young grow up in the open fields, then leave home and never return. Who gives the wild donkey its freedom? Who united its ropes? I have placed it in the wilderness. Its home is in the wasteland. It hates the noise of the city and has no driver to shout at it. The mountains are its pasture land. Where is where is searchers for every blade of grass? Will the wild oxen consent to being tamed? Will it spend the night in your stall? Can you hitch a wild ox to a plow? Will it plow a field for you, giving it strength? Can you trust it? Can you leave and trust the ox to do your work? Can you rely on it to bring home your grain and deliver it to your threshing floor? The ostrich flaps her wings grandly, but they are no match for the feathers of the stork. She lays her eggs on top of the earth, letting them to be warmed in the dust. She doesn't worry about a foot might crush them or a wild animal might destroy them. She is harsh toward her young, as if they were not her own. She doesn't care if they die, for God has deprived her of wisdom. He has given her no understanding, but whenever she jumps up to run, she passes the swiftest horse with its rider. Have you given the horse its strength, or clothed its neck with a flowing mane? Did you give the ability to leap like a locust? Its majestic snorting is terrifying. Its paw, the earth, to rejoice in its strength. When it charges out to battle, it laughs at fear and is unafraid. It does not run from the sword. Arrows rattle against the spear and javelin flash. And this is God talking to Job. Then Lord said to Job, do you still want to argue with the Almighty? You are God's critic, but do you have the answers? Job responds to the Lord. Then Job replied to the Lord, I am nothing. How could I ever find the answer? I will cover my mouth with my hand. I have said too much already. I have nothing more to say. Lord answered to Job from the whirlwind, brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Will you discredit my justice and condemn me just to prove you are right? Are you as strong as God? Can you thunder with a voice like his? All right, put on your glory and splendor, your honor, majesty. Give vent to your anger. Let it overflow against the proud. Humiliate the proud with a glance. Walk on the wicked where they stand. So in the conclusion, the Lord blesses Job and gives him everything he lost back to him, because he still worshiped the Lord and believed in God and never lost his faith in the Lord, even through the hard times. We can the only thing that can destruct us or kill us is evil. God's not going to kill us as long as we're following him and listening to him and doing as he wishes. We take the road, and we take the road less traveled. It's going to turn out good for us. I love God. In the end of this book, end of Job, God gives it all back to him. His children, everything he started out with, because he wanted to test him and see how good of a man he would be. How many times he wanted to make sure, see if Job would curse his name because he took everything he had. And everybody was telling him, you've done something wrong. No, I haven't done anything wrong. I've been a good and just man to the Lord. Lord said it himself when the beginning of the book. Why not test my good and faithful servant Job? There's nothing wrong with being a rich man. Job was a rich man, but also God. He he was a godly man, loved God and put God first, and God God blessed him, and then he blessed him and gave him everything he would need in his life, his children, his wife, that said cuss the Lord and die. I mean, Job told her to shut the hell up, shut up, because she knew not what she was talking about. He, just give up on God because he's done all this. Well, you know what? We're really going through the same things now in the world. All these things that we're seeing, and that's happening, and all that kind of stuff, and we're seeing it. Does that give us a reason to give up on God? No, because God really doesn't rule the earth. Satan rules the earth, and we have to beat out Satan to make it to heaven. We're not going when we're saved. We're not going to be here. We're going to be somewhere else. We have to beat out Satan out of our lives completely. I mean, yeah, we're going to make mistakes. Yeah, we're gonna do things that we shouldn't do, but we are to we are to be doing good for people. Don't do what the world does. Yeah, the world is the world's trying to compete with God. That's what's happening, and we've got to make sure that the world, which is the evil and the Satan and all that, because this is, it says in Job that Satan walks up and down and to and fro on this earth. God gives Satan earth. Okay, so we're in a Satan's world, but we've got to keep doing the right thing. We've got to keep loving God and reading the Bible and learning to learning to forgive others, learning to do, learning to be better people each and every day. Be nice to people. Be kind. Be friendly. Be peaceful. Be better than the ones that aren't Christ. God doesn't want us to just um, God doesn't want us to just behave the way the world is. I mean, there's a lot of mean people in the world, a lot of hateful people, a lot of druggies, a lot of fornicators, some, child endangerers. I mean, we get a lot going on, and I say this every time. But the world is not holy. We have to make our decision to be holy. We have to protect ourselves in this world. And the only way we do that is worship the Lord, believe in the Lord, and try to put goodness into the world, and not be part of the problem. If we're part of the problem, then it ain't go. Then we're not gonna be. We're not going to heaven. That's for sure. best thing anybody can really do is just completely, ignore the world. Ignore the world. Forget about the world. I mean, yeah, you got to go to the store and grocery shopping, but you don't have to be out here running around bars or running around in crack or dope neighborhoods or anything like that. You separate yourself from those things. Separate yourself from what would get you sent to hell, what would cause you problems with your relationship with God. I mean, I don't preach for me, I preach for y'all. I preach and I see what's going on in this world, and I'm not saying y'all don't. If you look at it, look and see what it's like. People, the rich always pays less taxes. Man's rich man always listens to the band, but the poor man pays it. I mean, people they have the license to get drugs. That shouldn't even be happening. One thing I despise most is drug dealers, because all they do is turn into zombies. They do so much meth, do so much drugs that when they do it, they just burn their brain out, and then they're just they I know people like that. I know of people that have done it. I know money hungry people that somebody's starting to know somebody's gonna get some damn money or sell some, excuse my language, sells is gonna sell somebody something. The whole family circles around it like a bunch of vultures trying to get it. That ain't the way to be. I mean, money hungry people out here. You got people that all they do is think about themselves. And that's nothing Christian. That's all worldly. The people who sit around and worry about the next snort of coke or what have you, and we're also dealing with a lot of fake evangelists. And I've mentioned their names, and I really don't mind calling them out because they're not doing the right thing. They're using money for themselves. They get greedy with it. I hate greed. If I'm going to receive some kind of dadgum money donated, I'm going to give it to somebody that needs it. I'm going to give it to somebody that needs it. I'm going to buy somebody a pair of shoes that ain't got none, or a pair of shirt or clothes, and put them on their back if they ain't got none. And being a Christian is not thinking about yourself. There's no room for self-thought about yourself all the time. You can think about yourself. You got things you need to be doing, but on the other hand, you can't expect to we're getting some donations. We're gonna get some money. We're gonna go Target tomorrow. No, that's not the way that stuff works. You get donations because somebody wants to give you money for donations. You don't take it to Target. You go find somebody who needs it. And if you don't want to spend the money on the person, you don't want to give the money to the person, you go buy the stuff for the woman, for the person. I mean, there is people who take advantage, but there's a lot of, you know, we need to, you know, it's like Joel Osteen, $10 million mansion, nice high dollar cars. When that money should have been used for people who needed it, who were starving, who had no clothing, had nothing, was living on the streets. He goes and spends that money on himself. That's not an evangelist. That's not a minister. That's that is somebody who takes advantage of his own church and his own people. You know, I'm gonna give you three good ministers. Good ministers. One is Charles Stanley. He's dead, but he's got an app that's guiding light, and it's a lot of his stuff. And he's a good minister, really is. And then you got Adrian Rogers. He's a good minister. And then, even though he's passed away, Billy Graham. Them were good ministers. You know, they didn't take the money and run. They spent it where it needed to go. I mean, that's where I got the guy Simon who carried Jesus' cross. He was a black man. You know, you gotta see that. You know, and Jesus was a man of his times. He was, I say he lived in the desert land. He was out in the sun a lot. He was also a carpenter, so he was dark complected, and he probably had long hair. If he didn't have long hair, then so be it, whatever. I believe probably he wasn't American, he was Galilean. That's another thing people need to understand. God was, he was kind of a turban wearer, I guess. I mean, maybe he didn't wear a turban, but they spoke Iranian. They were Iranian, and most Iranian people are black, and that's fine. That's whatever it is. I'm gonna tell you, all these prejudiced people like the Nazis or KKK, they ain't nothing but a bunch of wussies. I mean, they gang up because they're scared. They join a group because they're scared. People, Nazis, the KKK, the skinheads, that ain't nowhere to be. That ain't nothing but a big old bamboozle of hate. That's not where somebody needs to be. That's, there's good and bad in everything. Everybody, every color, every breed, whatever. There's bad in everybody. There's bad somewhere, and there's good in everything, and bad in everything. I'm trying to get people to cross over from the bad to the good and continue to follow the Lord. Pick that Bible up every day. Use that Bible as a weapon. I believe you open that Bible and you ain't going to have no problems because Satan going to run from you. I've already witnessed to that. I've opened it up myself and got, Satan is going to run because he don't want the truth, and he don't want to be nowhere around it because he's Satan. He's evil. He's the he's no good. But being like Job and dedicating your life to the Lord, no matter what kind of pain you receive, it's not from God, it's from Satan. Not from God, it's from Satan. Pain is from Satan. Death is from Satan. Now, God has a time for you to leave, but early death is of Satan. I'm gonna call this the end of this one, and I'm gonna be on tomorrow, Sunday, and I want to tell y'all God bless, and